Welcome in, everyone, to the 2023 Portland Open, presented by Latitude64. Our defending champion from 2022, Simon Lizotte, is going to open things up with us. Simon, you just told me I'm not supposed to ask how you're feeling, but I'm going to do so anyway. It's been a couple of weeks. You're coming off not cashing at the OTB.
Yep.
Eagle McMahon followed up his not cashing at OTB by winning Beaver State. What's your plan?
Yeah, I liked it. I watched Beaver State Fling, of course, and I really liked Eagle's interview afterwards because he was like, man, sometimes you just need that smack in the face, that reset button, and missing cash at a tournament you won the previous year feels pretty bad. So it's definitely, Eagle said it helped him to like reevaluate some things and get a new mindset, and I think I'll do the same, hopefully.
So that's the mental perspective, which is great, and good friend Eagle tells you that, or gave you that insight. How about physically? How are you feeling?
I think my problem was at OTB that I was almost feeling too good, and I was going back to these old bad habits of throwing too hard and missing my lines and trying crazy shots, getting a bit bored out there. Today, I tweaked my elbow once or twice, so I think that's a good sign maybe that'll slow me down, and I'll keep it controlled.
Yeah, not a lot of people say they're usually happy with any kind of injury to limit themselves. But something else that's really unique about this event is that in the previous 3 years, we've seen it come down to a single stroke. Eagle versus Gibson, McMahon, Macbeth, you over Double G last year on the last couple of holes. What is it about this course that makes it that competitive and that tight?
I mean, I'm not sure if it's the course or if it's the field. I mean, we've seen it a handful of times this year already that it comes down to the stretch, and a lot of times more than a dozen of people are in it. So it's getting more and more exciting. The courses have changed over the years here. We're not playing Blue Lake this year, which I'm a bit sad about because I always enjoy that track. But I think that the Glendower Golf Complex here is like potentially the coolest we have in disc golf. It's just so epic and so fun, and I hope it comes down to the wire again because that makes it more fun to watch.
What is it? One follow-up to that is, what is it about this property, this course, this venue facility that makes it so cool, that makes it stand out, like you just said?
Big trees, green fairways, beautiful views, and I don't know, there's something about the Pacific Northwest that is just, you're here and you just feel it. It's the vibes. You can't, hard to describe, you've got to come here to feel it.
All right, well, my final question then, speaking of the vibes, is tell us about the beer release with Bevel this weekend and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, Nate Doss and Val reached out to me a couple months ago, and they said, hey, we want to collab on a beer again. Last year, was it last year where they did it with James? I think so, the Holy Shot beer. Mm-hmm. Was that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And I tried it. It was awesome, of course. Any disc golf collab beer is a must-try for any disc golfer. And Nate Doss, obviously running the Bevel Brewing in Bend, is wildly successful and a guy that I've had a really good times with in the past. So really cool that someone like Nate Doss reaches out to me and like, hey, I want to make a beer with you. And email thread back and forth, and a couple of weeks later, we got a beer.
We'll see it this weekend, and let everyone know what the name is.
Oh, yeah, we named it Twice or It's Luck. It's a common theme on the vlog. If you make a putt, you got to back it up and prove that you weren't just lucky. And I think after I won after I won Portland last year, I said after my OTB win, it really felt like I had to back that up. And then I did it here, which was Twice or It's Luck. Wasn't luck for now.
Well, best of luck to you this weekend. Here's Zoe Andike.
Nice.
Hello, Simon, and welcome back to Portland. A place that you definitely love and have fond memories in. Cool to hear about the beer release as well, and Nate and Val being on the course. So, what's your first favorite thought when you arrive into Portland? Is it the disc golf or is it the trees?
It's probably the trees. When I think of Portland, I think of big pine trees.
And the excitement about being in the city of Portland, or just being able to explore the Northwest and everything that it has to offer.
Yeah, it's just cool. I mean, you just drive around here and you can just see where you are.
Incredible.
And I've had so many good memories from playing in Portland. successful tournaments and just good times off the course as well. So it's just the vibe.
All right, well, seeing where you are, let's focus in on the West course. It's the one with the most changes and the biggest redesign. We've heard the scuttle across the field is that it is much longer, and I want to hear from you about how do you feel about the scoreability and the shots? We've also heard a lot of MPO players are throwing insane rollers out there, so speak to how you feel about the distance and scoreability.
Good timing, actually, because I just played it for the first time. I just did a round with Gatekeeper, and we did a little Patreon special video with them, kind of like an interview style round. It was very fun. And man, the course is tough. I was just going through it. I don't know if I was just kind of like distracted a bit with interview going on and cameras around me, but I think like a 4 to 6 under is solid from what I could tell, which is rare for us on disc golf courses. And I just love about this property and this course is that the greens are so different. Some greens you have thick grass that doesn't skip, so shots come in and just stick. Some you have the fairway where you get bigger skips, and then when the baskets are between the trees and like the pine straws, you get the slip and slide, lip glossy putts off of those greens. So I think it really comes down to choosing right discs for those up shots and sticking those greens because they play so differently on each different hole.
Wow, incredible insight there. And a 4 to 6, I want to touch back on that just for a moment. That is not very far under par. That speaks a lot about the teeth that this course has. Is it the OB? Is it the Mandos? Is it the
I think
distance?
it's just, it's distance. The holes are so long, and
you just spoke about
there's
the tricky
OB
greens.
everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like they're not just the birdies are just not just hard to get, but also bogeys come into play real fast. So I don't know. I would be very, very shocked if we see a double digits on the West Coast. On the East Coast, it's doable. On the West Coast, probably not so much.
Well, that was my final question. Feelings? Have you had a chance to play the East Course?
Yeah, played it yesterday.
All right. And
same layout. That's a phenomenal track.
Wonderful. Well, good luck this weekend. We're so happy to have you back in Oregon. And here's Brian Earhart.
Oh, one more.
One more for you, Simon. Drew Gibson recently mentioned that he believes that throwing far isn't a skill that wins you events. And we're talking about the distance out here on this course. Do you agree with that sentiment, or do you believe distance is still very important out here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour?
I think we play a lot of courses where distance definitely is a huge advantage. And I think it is a skill. Yeah, we all know it doesn't win you events, but it can definitely put you in the right position. In much easier positions on some of these holes.
Actually, speaking of which, last year with your injury, you played a pretty conservative style. But let's talk about the rollers. There's a lot of players looking to line up quite a few out here. Are you going to be leaning into that as well?
Yeah, I just put actually a new mold in my bag that I haven't been throwing all year. The Wave. It's an 11 speed that is a bit more on the understable side. And I've been just crushing it dead flat and having it do the work and then start rolling. So it's been working nicely. I also roll the Crave a bit. It's a bit of a slower disc, but more controllable. I might not throw as many rollers as you see from some other guys. Like Eagle, I think, is going to throw just roller, because he throws them so hard and so far with these really overstable discs that just go straight. I don't feel like I have that shot right now, so I'm going to go more on the air shots and maybe some flippier discs with some more controlled rollers.
Well, fantastic. Good luck with all that geometry you have to do out there, Simon. We'll see you out there.
Lots of decisions to make.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Ohn Scoggins. And Ohn, just a few days ago, you picked up your 4th major victory with the PDGA. And after round 1, you were down a single stroke, but you went on to win by 14. So what happened in those next 3 rounds when you put the pedal down?
I think I just kind of like rethinking what I'm doing out there, try to not make a mistake, and then just, I don't know, I went to after the round, so I went to the park, and then I putt very hard, and I just feel like, man, if I want to win, I have to play in the wood course very well, because the long course, I know Jane, like, she's gonna be overpower me, so I just told myself, whatever I do, I have to get her in the wood course, and it does.
The strategy worked out. So, of course, congratulations on taking down the Tim Selinsky last weekend, as I was just referencing. So now that perfectly segues to this weekend, long. And a lot of people are talking about just how long these courses are. You finished 2nd here last year. So what are going to be some of the strategies? What do you need to do this weekend to have another good, solid performance or take down the win?
Pretty sure it's have to be play smart because last year is different because last year we have Blue Lake. So I play okay over there, but the other side you call East, right? East was like scoreable, like a lot of people play good. But this year was totally different because the West side I played yesterday, I feel like my arm gonna fall off. It was so long, and of course I throw 500 feet, like it's no problem for me, like I can park every hole out there. Nope, not really. I'm just gonna play smart, and I know it's gonna be windy here and there, so just gonna pick a right this, and if I have to lay up, I lay up. If I have to play aggressive, I play aggressive. Just be smart, play out there.
Well, and that was exactly my thought was you just played you played Beaver State, and then you played 4 rounds at Selinsky plus the practice, now 4 rounds out here on these very, very long courses. How are you resting yourself? What do you do, and do you have to hold back from playing too many practice shots? How do you keep yourself rested and ready to go?
I just talk with myself, this is my job, I just treat this one just like a normal job because a lot of people work 5 days, Friday per week.
Yep.
So I just gonna practice 5 days a week. Why not? Plus 2 more. Why not 7? And I'm young. I'm 19, so I can handle. Make a big oatmeal. Healthy eat. No. It's just I think I'm ready. I'm not gonna get age to like make me feel like Ohn and Saki out there, I just gotta pick up myself. Hey, I can do it. I can hanging with this young woman, and I think the very important thing is a mental. I have quite strong mental, and that mental transfer to my heart, transfer to my body, and I'm ready to fight, and just play smart.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it. Here's Zoe Andy.
What up?
What up? Welcome to Portland, Ohn. Just got to play with you last week again. Congratulations on such a sweet major title in commanding fashion at that. And I might as well just tie it into where we left off with Terry. Very strong mental game. Very, very strong. If there was something you could easily say to the public, I want to focus in on your pre-shot routine. That's the strong mental game. When you're on the tee box, can you describe a pre-shot routine? And if not the tee box, right before your putt. I think the world wants to know, how does she do it? What does that pre-shot last 10 to 30 seconds look like or feel like?
So it's become very important with the practice round. So I know I practice so hard. When I walk to hole 1, I already know what I'm gonna do. Or it's very rare, maybe I have like 2-3 Ds in my hand, but probably like very tricky shot for me. But most of the time I already know what I'm gonna do. And then with the putting too, like when I go 100% with the putting, even dead putt, I know what I'm gonna hit something. Or I just talk with myself, I'm going to make this putt. Like, because I have been practice putts so much, and I'm not gonna scare of this putt. And I talk with myself, I'm gonna do it. And like I said, like, everybody know, like, if you're not 100% what do you call? If you're not 100% committed, don't do it, because I am 100% what I'm doing, and I know exactly what I'm going to do. That's why is make my mental game very strong, because I know exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, so.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And now I want to touch on the West course, the longer of the two out here at Portland Open for actually my final question. We've talked about how tough it could be to even get some pars. We know that in the past we have seen you throw rollers. Is there any kind of different shot or strategic play that wouldn't be just forcing over the backhand and the forehand?
Backhand and the forehand will for sure this weekend. But the roller, I pack up and send it to LA already. So, and I mean, it's not gonna work out here for me. But backhand style, I'm gonna use a lot. And like I said, it's a lot of tree out there. You need to placement shot. Like you have to make a plan where your disc want to land. I think this week's going to be very important. If you're not going to park the hole, you rather plan where your disc going to be, and then what is a good up shot for the next one. This is like whole week I'm planning what I'm going to do, and hopefully it's go with my plan. But if not, go to my plan, and I'm okay with it, because everybody make mistake. If I make mistake, a lot of people are going to make mistakes. So that's how I feel.
Well, good luck this weekend, Ohn, and thank you for not only sharing the strategy, but the follow-up, whether it goes your way or not. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to actually take a break, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Kat Mertsch. And Kat, the two biggest wins of your career have essentially come in the last 30 days. So congrats on last weekend. Of course, I'm also referencing Jonesboro, but what does that say about your game right now that you've picked up your two biggest wins in the last 30 days or so?
I somehow just pushed through. I don't know. It's just happened.
Were they overdue, or have they come at just the right time?
I don't know. They just happened. I haven't really processed them, to be honest, because I don't have the time to process them. I just have to worry about getting to the next one. So it's probably just going to be like off-season celebration. Be like, oh my God, I did it. Have my little moment later on in the year.
Well, I'll jump ahead then. Something else, I did a little math and research on you. You are scheduled for an event every single weekend until middle of September.
Oh yeah.
What does that grind mean to you, knowing that you're playing disc golf? You're scheduled every weekend until September right now.
I'll probably end up taking like a week off or something, but it makes me happy, you know. It keeps me out of trouble, and it's good to keep myself busy when I start thinking.
And some of the things that you've put on now your list and on your resume, obviously the Silver Series last weekend, the Elite Series. This weekend it is an Elite Plus event. First one that we're seeing, the 4 rounds, extra points, everything else. What would it mean for you to take down an event like this weekend?
Another day in the office. It'd be cool for sure, but I'm just happy to be out here. I'm happy to be back in Portland. I like it out here a lot, and I love the trees. There's also a really good energy and vibe on the course that I like, so I'm just happy to be here.
What would you say is the strongest part of your game right now?
Right now, probably my mental. I keep my head together for the most part.
And then I'll follow that up and say the conversation this week has largely been about the distance that's required. Not just this weekend, but over the last few events. But this weekend in particular, you're talking about 10,000 foot courses. You kind of have that sneaky distance that we like to say, at least in the media side. How do you rate your distance against some of our most elite throwers in the FPO division?
I'm going to give it like a 7.5 maybe. It's up there. I know I don't throw the farthest, but I'm definitely not throwing it the shortest. There's like mid-level, there's top level. I'm about somewhere right there, like sandwiched in there.
Is that something you're actively working on or that you're concerned about, or do you feel like you have enough distance? I mean, you've proven you can win. Is that enough distance for you, or is that something you're going to work on?
We'll see. I don't really know. I don't have any plans to work on distance until I need it.
All right. Well, I need you to check in here with Zoe Andike. She's got more for you.
Right on.
Best of luck to you.
Thanks.
Hello, Kat, and welcome
Hi.
back to Portland.
Thanks, girl.
Doesn't it feel good?
Yeah,
to
it
be here?
does. Boba tea, Thai food, all good stuff here.
And I want to jump right into the course. You talked about the energy on the course and the good feelings. Again, boba tea, Thai food. Let's start with the East. You've been there before. You played it last year. First of all, have you had a chance to play the East?
No, I'm probably not going to play it until the tournament, to be honest, just to conserve energy. I've played one front of the West, and I'm just going to drive the cart around and write the distances down. There's no real need to get crazy out here. I feel like I need to really conserve all my energy, so I'm just going to take the rest of the day off and come out and shred.
Incredible. Yeah. All right, I was just getting ready to ask if you'd seen the West. You answered that. And seeing the back half by cart is the plan. Everybody got to witness. I was lucky enough to call it on the mic. Some of the nastiest rollers we have ever seen in the FPO game. Please tell me we are going to see something like that this weekend. Is it on the practice plan?
Probably. I mean, it's long out here. If the ground's flat and the wind's right, probably see some rollers. I got a couple discs in there. I'm looking forward to breaking out the green and the white one.
I was just going to say, tell us what the green one, especially from Beaver State Fling Green, and the white one are.
It's a 169 Shrike and a 167 Tito's Vodka Shrike from Austin, Texas. I've had those. Deanne gave me the Shrike, the green one, and I think Cynthia gave me the white one. So, yeah, I like to lay some sick lines down with those bad boys. Have them skedaddle down the fairway.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to pass it off to Brian Earhart and say good luck this weekend.
Thank you, my love. Brian.
All right, well, I got a couple questions for you. First off, I was watching you last week at the Cascade Challenge, and just being in media, I have to see you play every weekend.
Yeah.
And over time, I've noticed that your backhand timing, form, everything is kind of tightened up a bit, so to speak. Have you ever really grinded form as you progressed as a player?
Yeah, believe it or not, I have. Especially my backhand form. When I first started to play, I had no backhand whatsoever. So when I learned it, there was a lot of things going wrong. There was like a lot of rounding. There was some weird arm pulls. So I really tried to pride myself on getting it straight back and pulling it through the power pocket and making sure that it gets just straight and my whole arm is connected to my body and whatnot.
Was that something that, a lot of times a local player, when you're younger and learning the game, will kind of take you under their wing and teach you form, or you just go on YouTube? Like, how did that start for you?
So Danny Lindahl was living in Arkansas at the time, and we went out to a field, and he basically structured my backhand. I mean, that was the foundation, was in that little soccer field by his apartment, working on my swing.
Shout out to Danny Lindahl. I'm sure he's very proud of the progress
Yeah.
that you've made. These days on tour, I want to jump into a couple of the rollers that you've thrown this year. You've thrown some incredible cut rollers.
Oh, yeah.
Really aggressive. I can't think of a player that does field work for those. Do you ever actually practice those aggressive cut rollers, or is that just knowing your equipment?
To be honest, the one that you're probably talking about was that green one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just walked up on the practice and I said, Deanne, this looks like a cut roller. And Nico's like, do it! And so we did it, and that was honestly the first time I ever tried to throw a cut roller. So I just committed to it. Just did it.
Fantastic. Well, I gotta ask you as well. We are in Portland, which is a phenomenal food city. You mentioned that you really like Thai food. What is the Thai food order?
It is pad CU medium spice.
Any protein?
Maybe chicken.
Okay.
I kind of go back and forth. I like vegetable, tofu, and chicken.
Have you done any more food tourism here in the city of Portland this week, or just no time?
Just cheese quesadillas, man.
Not a bad move. Well,
Not a
we'll
bad
see
move.
you out there this week. Good luck,
See ya.
and we're looking forward to seeing you.
Cool. Beautimus.
I think we're good.
Cool.
Patsy with the...
Welcome back. Joining us now is Philo Brathwaite. And Philo, congrats on claiming your first PDGA major title. Yep. How does that sound now that it's been about 3 days?
It's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it? It feels pretty good, man.
It certainly does. And
Yeah.
I'm going to run a quick checklist on you. First Masters singles win.
Yep.
You took down doubles at Worlds with Felberg a few years ago. So check. First majors win. Check. And largest paycheck.
Yeah.
What am I, those are the easy ones that I can research. Tell us what I'm missing from the list.
What I would like to be on the list, it would have been nice to get a national tour win, in the prime of my career. It would have been nice to pick up a disc golf pro tour win at some point. I don't know, man. It would have been great to be in contention at a Worlds. That never really happened. So, yeah, I don't know, man. If I could have the perfect resume, some of those things would be on there. Maybe Rookie of the Year from the start. Maybe a Player of the Year one time. I don't know, something like that. Most improved somewhere along the ropes. I don't know. It's hard to say.
But here we are,
Yeah.
and you're solidifying the fact to everyone that hears you in the booth week in and week out.
Right.
Just like we'll hear you this weekend. If anyone ever were to second guess, hey, does this guy know how to play golf? I mean, in case they're new here, I guess.
Right.
You certainly do. And tell us how good that feels.
It feels awesome. Definitely validation, feeling for 18 years of being part of this game. And, yeah, man, if people were questioning and wondering, what my pedigree was in disc golf, hopefully this kind of solidifies it for everybody and kind of puts that to bed, taking down Felberg and Kale and Blakely, another solid player, guys like Dutch Napier, and just tons of guys, Bobby Music guys that were like my heroes coming up. Yeah, it feels really good to take them down, for sure.
Yeah, and the one last point on that I would say is Kale was what some would say a heavy favorite.
Yeah.
Not only the young guy,
Yeah.
but he also comes in as the highest rated to that
Yeah.
event. You guys have this great battle, and you kind of just touched on it. What's that like, even in a different division now, playing against some of these guys you battled with for the last 20 years in MPO?
Yeah, it feels pretty much the same. Their games haven't changed much. Guys like Felberg, hasn't really lost a whole lot of the pop. He still pushes the disc well up the fairway, still has all the shots in the bag, all the angles. Kale, obviously, a tremendous talent, still battling out here on the Pro Tour, still, picking up top tens every once in a while. And I don't know, man, I just tried to put that all out of my head and just think that I have just as good a chance as anybody else in this field. The course was fair. The courses, were fair. And I don't know, man, I just went out there and played my game and just didn't really pay attention to what everybody else was doing, finally. It felt like for, one time in my career, just kind of blocked all that stuff out and just said, I'm going to show up with my game and put my best out there and see what happens.
Well, you'll put your game aside for just a moment for this weekend, and now you'll step into the booth, which we know the world loves. My last question for you is, I remember you talking in the booth about how you knew this property before disc golf came here, Glendevere Golf Course. So give everyone a little insight, or maybe some of the history that you have with this property and what it's evolved into in these last few years.
For sure, yeah. I've been coming to Portland for a number of years, and usually when I'm driving, I'd have my golf clubs with me in the trunk, and I love to play golf in my spare time. And I found this property and was just blown away. I thought it was awesome. The first time I was here, I was like, wow, this would be a great place for some disc golf kind of thing, like beautiful property, great shapes, the trees are amazing, it's just an awesome facility, and I'm really shocked and pleasantly surprised that we picked this place up, honestly. I was looking at it like, wow, this would be a great place for a disc golf pro tour right in the middle of the town, out of, a little different environment, but something that's really accessible for the whole community. And yeah, it's a beautiful place. I love what they've done with the place as a disc golf course. Obviously, the game's evolving, and we need bigger pieces of land to work with to really showcase what these players can do, and this is a great place for that.
We're looking forward to Portland showing up. Here's Zoe Endyke.
Thanks, Tara.
Philo, and
What up?
congratulations
Thank
again.
you. Appreciate it.
Super fantastic to see that major quote from you, that monkey off your back.
Yeah.
Such a big feeling.
Yeah.
And I want to just kind of jump right into what we're doing this weekend. You're back in the booth.
Yep.
You're calling the shots. Being so dedicated to the Disc Golf Network has certainly taken time away from you being out on the course, right?
Correct.
Do you think, as a fellow commentator, I have these feelings myself, do you think that your skills remained as sharp and potentially even sharper because of the level of professionalism you're still involved in regularly? It's more mental now, calling the shots.
I definitely think that plays a part, Zoe. Thinking about it in hindsight, even just past weekend, just thinking about all the great shots I've watched, in the last 3 seasons and the level of play and, picking up on some of the nuances, different players are putting out there on the golf course. And yeah, I mean, I kind of digest all that. I've been a student of the game my whole career. I try to express that I feel like I'm a combination of a lot of different players. It's not just my own personal style, but I kind of see things in other players and go, I'm going to see if that works for me. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, I incorporate it. And yeah, man, it's been really awesome to watch this young generation come up and to be a part of that and to call the shots. And it does help translate onto the golf course because my brain kind of reminds, like, it's like this trick thing that happens sometimes where it's like, I do know what I'm doing out here. And, yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting. That's a great question, and I would agree that it does help. It does sharpen up the mental, kind of helps eliminate a lot of the things you don't want when you watch a lot of good golf. We're always watching the best players. It's not like we're, not to shame anybody or bash anybody, but it's not like we're watching middle of the pack guys that are kind of roller coastering around. We're watching the best shots every week, and for sure that plays an impact on your mental.
Absolutely. And then another piece to that, talk about sharpening your mental game at the highest level. You are very involved with teaching.
For sure.
Before this major, you gave a clinic, but you regularly, internationally, locally, are teaching. You're giving lessons. Would you also attribute some of your play into this major win to that?
On some levels, yeah. Obviously, when you're teaching, you're focusing your energy on what other people are doing, and it's not so much about what you're doing, but it does reinforce all the work and all the drills and all the training that you do, and it kind of helps when you watch other people improve. It kind of goes, okay, yeah, you're doing the same thing, and now they're doing the same thing, and for sure, it absolutely plays a part. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say good luck to you in the booth this
Thanks.
weekend, putting on the MPO show. Is there anything you want to get the viewers hyped about specifically for the Portland Elite Series play?
Wow, man, buckle in. This is going to be a wild ride. There's so many solid players this week. Seems like pretty much all the top dogs are out here, so get ready. It should be a really good one.
Thank you, Philo.
You're welcome,
And we'll
Zoe.
See
Thank
you
you.
in the booth.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Jennifer Allen. And Jen, I want to recap the last, we'll say, few weeks with you. that you picked up an A-tier FPO win at the Masters Cup, an A-tier in Open, this last weekend, second place at the Major in FP40, and then in the midst of all that, you also won a silver event in FPO. So my question is this your best golf ever?
I don't know. I've had a lot of wins, but that's definitely against some incredible golfers. You know, at Beaver State, we had a packed, I think there was like almost 50 women. So for sure. But there was a good group of us. I think there was about 15 women at Santa Cruz and then 15 in Flag. So yeah, and a great 10 women down at the Tim Zielinski. But we just need a few more of those. That's growing slowly, but it's been a good month. My body's feeling it. I'm tired. I'm ready to go home and nap.
That was going to be a follow-up.
Yes, I'm ready for a nap.
That understandably may go hand in hand with even a distance conversation, because
Right.
here we are. You've been playing a lot of golf, a lot of long golf. You're coming off of a 4-round major just a few days ago, and now you come out here for this Elite Plus event, 4 rounds on one of the longest courses you'll
Huge.
see. So as a world record distance thrower, give us your thoughts on it. Talk to us about what it means to be playing golf and this much of it.
Yeah, it definitely wears on you. I mean, like, this is hard shot after hard shot. A lot of big throws. I think East is really not all about a lot of long shots, but definitely the back 9 of West is like ridiculous. So yeah, it's going to be trying to just stay calm. I've actually been kind of maybe crazy, but I want to feel very comfortable with these courses, and this is the last tournament in Oregon before I leave, so I do want to give it my best. So I've played 36 holes already this morning, throwing probably too many shots on each hole. So I've played them both the last 2 days, 2 rounds a day, and maybe hit a few more holes before I leave, but throwing a lot of shots. Ready to rest this afternoon.
My arm is sore just thinking about
Yeah,
that.
it's a lot of shots out there.
So then the follow-up to that is, does your distance give you an advantage on these courses? I know that probably will feel like you're going to have a biased answer, but that's what I'm looking for. Will your distance give you an advantage here?
I think the few girls that have really been working on their rollers, like Kat was throwing some great rollers, Ella has some good rollers, they may pick up a little bit more because we're on such a beautiful, pristine golf course. Like, there's a few of these holes that they can maybe get a great, distance on it. But I really just think it's the back 9 of West that really, 2 big shots versus like, playing circle bar was maybe a little long, but it was 1 long drive and then everyone throwing an up shot. So there was really no advantage of my distance at circle bar. Where this, on those 9 holes, because we're throwing 2, 3, like there's a couple par 5s. I'm throwing 3 or 4 destroyer shots before I get to the basket. So, and some of those are uphill. So, there's some long ones. So I think with that many consecutive throws in a row, we're going to pick up a stroke to where they're going to have to make their putt, and maybe we can miss the putt and still get the same score. But I don't think it'll be a huge difference.
All right. My final question then is, what is it like bouncing back and forth with FPO and then FP40? Is there anything that changes for you mentally or physically on any given weekend?
Well, a lot of them now, are in the same. So Holly, Hokum, Ohn, all of us have been playing together, the last several weeks. So that's kind of the same familiar faces. But typically it's a little more relaxed and chill Master Phil versus this is a little bit more competitive. But I think we're really kind of getting that across the board. The Masters division's growing. I mean, and like I said, we have the same FPO players playing, so you're still bringing that competitive now. So now it's not quite as old school feeling and as relaxed, but it still is a little bit.
All right. Well, one of the new guns on the FP40,
Yes!
Zoe Andike, she's got a question or two for you.
Incredible.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Welcome to Portland. And, okay, seriously, let's jump right in. You are shredding some amazing golf right now. You spoke about your distance potentials and advantages and even the holes. I want to dive right in to a couple of things. You have so much experience for like 20, 30 years in the game. You see these courses and these distances. What do you think the evolution of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, where are we going? I mean, like, because you can keep up, you do have advantages, you've got tons of skills and experience. What do you, like, take a step back and look at the design of these courses and think for our tour, for FPO?
I mentioned several times today that, man, it sure is nice not having to like look through the rough. no poison oak. No, I mean, so it's nice and quick. It looks beautiful. You know, I personally feel like if we want to grow the sport and get sponsors and things like that and views and get this more live broadcast, then we need beautiful courses like this, and we need spectators. Like, all of that has to come in hand. So I don't think all tournaments will go to ball golf courses, but I mean, look at this place. It's not like there's not trees, you know. And it was the same with Circle Bar. I think that was one of the most beautiful courses I've seen. The course might have been a little more wide open, but surrounded by, in a valley of just gorgeous trees. So we can still have, I think, easy spectator, you know, viewing areas, and still have some technical, with good course design, you're still going to have some technical shots, and you guys are utilizing every little tree and still making some difficulty out of them with being on a ball golf course.
That's right. And now just my final question for you is kind of, again, it's a zoomed out view, but you're playing some of your best golf. What does it look like in the next 1 to 3 or 3 to 5 years for Jen Allen?
3 to 5 is definitely probably Masters golf. We gotta push for Callie to get that going full throttle, get some more A tiers in there. Which, you know, she can't start. You can't start tournaments at an A tier level. So this is where she had to start. So I'm sure she will bump that up, following the PDGA rules on TDing events. So I don't see me pulling a JK and hanging till 50. Like, if you step back and really think about that, like, that's incredible that she is over 50 and still playing like incredible golf, and maybe some of the best golf she's played in a while. Like, I did a practice round with her yesterday, and she's hitting these huge putts. And that was like, I was like, wow, like, she's really like getting back into this great flow. So we can hang out here, but I hope that we will be able to not have to compete with 20-year-olds in 5 years.
Well, thank you so much, and best of luck to you this weekend, Jen. We'll be right back after a short break.
Welcome in, everyone. Joining us now is Eagle McMahon, and Eagle Pro Tour Socials said it today, and you've been saying it for years, that you absolutely love this place, and you back that up because you have 4 wins and a second in the last 5 times you've played here in Oregon. So the question is, what is it about Oregon or the Pacific Northwest that you love so much?
There's always been just some sort of gravity here that just pulls me towards the Pacific Northwest. And I talked a little bit about it after my win at BSF. It was probably one of the more special places I first came to the first year on tour. I started, my first ever NT was the Memorial, but then after that, Beaver State Fling wasn't far behind, and I got to spend a week with Simon and Avery back then, which at the time they were kind of my more disc golf idols. So it's always just been a really special place, and there's something about the big Douglas fir trees, the nature here. Being from Colorado, I can really appreciate a place that's kind of parallel to such a mountainous, beautiful place.
Well, and then your performances here, I'll say they've translated throughout the year. You're currently sitting in 4th place on the Pro Tour. How does that sit with you? How do you feel about your overall performance so far here at the halfway point?
It's starting to come around. I had a good finish at the major, had a close call at Jonesboro, and then a few other tournaments that I was kind of in the hunt on. But it feels like I'm starting to shake off some of the rust and kind of put it all together. So 4th place, looking at the point structure, I think 3rd, 2nd, even 1st place is still in grasp if you can play some good events. So I like where I'm at right now, and just going to take the momentum I've been kind of gaining and hopefully take it through the rest of the year.
Is that something you're concerned about right now, especially seeing how well Calvin's performed? I mean, he's been nearly flawless. He's got a real stranglehold on first. Does your overall placing, is that a big concern at this point in the year for you whatsoever? I mean, or are you just happy with qualifying in the upper, tier? Does it really matter which spot it is?
I know that there's a new structure for the Pro Tour finale, and it's similar to the, I believe, FedEx Cup in golf. So you're going to get you're going to be awarded a handicap system. I don't know the exact structure of it is yet, but I know the higher up you can place, then the more under par you're going to be to start the Pro Tour finale. So that's always nice. So I'm definitely thinking about that. But if it's not first, then I just want to be in the top 8.
Okay, that was exactly what I was thinking. Does 6th versus 7th matter? Does 3rd versus 4th matter? And as you said, as long as you're somewhere in the qualified area and getting the most of those strokes that you can, it makes sense. A little earlier, Simon talked about maybe expecting to see you throw some rollers and some big shots. What do you feel like you're going to lean into this weekend in terms of your strategy on the course?
Trying not to bite off too much, but also trying to bite off a lot. Just knowing the time to attack. There's a lot of holes out here that plays well for my game, especially rollers. I think each round I'm probably throwing 5, 6, 7 rollers, and if I can get them down on the right angle, then it can be a really great advantage for me.
And then one other thing that I just saw you posting about yesterday, talk a little bit about the new shoes you're going to be sporting and what that means to you and your overall health and longevity within the sport. Explain that to everyone.
Yeah, ever since 2020, I've been wearing Vivo Barefoot. I'm one of their ambassadors now, so shout out to them for recognizing disc golf. I know Thomas Gilbert, Eric Oakley, and maybe even another handful of the players are ambassadors for Vivo Barefoot. And the pair that I'm using this week is going to be the Hydra by them. So the super aggressive tread, Michelin tread on the bottom. Going to try to put an Instagram post, see how I like them, but played one round in them yesterday, and so far so good. And if anyone's looking into Vivo Barefoot, I highly recommend them. Look up the Shoespiracy. That's a little documentary. Kind of gets you like a good little look into what the world of barefoot shoes is all about.
All right. Well, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for that. And here's Brian Earhart.
Hello, Eagle.
Hello.
A couple questions for you. Something that's been on my mind a little while. You always say keep on dreaming. That's like one of your taglines that you've talked about over the years. What is that dream for you right now?
What is that dream?
What is that dream? What does that look like to you after all the successes that you've had? Is it to be the best player who ever lived? Is it to live a happy life? What is that now?
That's a great question. Well, the dream, I guess you can say that I'm living it. But I guess, or I don't guess, I know that I'm out here to be the best player, the best person I can be, to always evolve. And, whether that's winning tournaments, which that's the goal sometimes. Sometimes the goal is to be happy, to enjoy nature. It really depends. But just kind of putting my all into whatever I do, I think that's what the dream is.
So it's more so being satisfied with yourself, not necessarily looking at where you are stacked up next to the rest of the field, essentially.
Exactly. I think Kristin said it before, is comparison is the enemy of joy. So if you're comparing yourself to others, then that's going to be your first problem, and you need to do it for yourself and no one else.
When you first started getting into disc golf, you were definitely trying to cement yourself as like a social media personality and trying to just make whatever way you can as a youngster in this game. Do you feel like you ever struggled with the comparison thing early on?
I mean, I still do. We all do. It's like you're going to deal with it. You always say it's me versus the course. It's you're always out there comparing yourself to others. So it's kind of a battle that you're always going to have to fight. But I think the self-awareness is what's important. If you can catch yourself in these situations and be able to take yourself out of it, I think that can be really important, and realize that it's not about that. So anyone who struggles with it, because I know I do, like if Calvin, if Paul, if Ricky's beating me, like, of course I'm going to compare myself to him, but then I just need to look at myself in the mirror and be like, okay, just do your best. It doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And one last question, kind of another philosophical one. I've been hearing a little bit more chatter lately about just future rule changes on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And this is just through the grapevine chatter that I've heard. Talks about changing C1 or removing it altogether, or changing the range at which you can follow through or step putt. Have you ever thought about something like that? And if so, do you agree with that?
My opinions kind of differ on this topic. As somebody who doesn't jump putt, I would be in favor of it because I think that's more of an advantage to me against the field. But no, I don't think it's that big of an issue for me personally. I've never had like a problem calling. I think what's more important is looking at time. We need to have a better fix for that. I don't know what that necessarily is. And then I would love to see the PDGA implement all players taking score on each card opposed to just two.
Well, sounds like Circle One's not too big of a deal for you right now. But hey, this week, it's going to be a great week out here in Portland. People are really excited to see you play. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Joining us now is Paige Pierce. Happy birthday, Paige.
Thank you very much.
32 years. I normally don't get too philosophical, but give us a reflect briefly here. 32 years. You've been playing disc golf how many years?
Well, I mean, since I was a little kiddo, a little 4-year-old, probably rolling around in a stroller with my dad. But professionally, I've been on the tour since 2010, so this is my 14th season on the pro tour. Before the pro tour existed, yeah. So it's been a wild ride, journey of a lifetime for sure.
Yeah, it certainly has, and we heard just Eagle McMahon a few moments ago talking about how he's felt about it and where the evolution of disc golf is going, and you've been right there for all of it. It's been so incredible to watch. I want to get into a few specifics. You didn't play these last 2 weekends on the tour. We saw Beaver State Fling. We saw Cascade take place. You were presumably home in Florida. My question would be, is that time to relax, or were you practicing? How are you balancing that when you're not at these silver events?
Yeah, I think you just nailed it there. Balance, like practicing for sure, but also resting and trying not to, put so much pressure on myself every day. Okay, now I got to go to this course. Now I got to go here. Now I got to go, and it just to breathe a little bit and I'm still learning how to breathe. I'm 32 years old, and Seth and Alyssa are still teaching me how to belly breathe in with your nose. So, stuff like that, that I can't learn when I'm just going. You don't have time to think or to process any feelings or emotions, and definitely not enough time to learn. I think a balance of definitely, keeping my putting stroke feeling good, practicing those 18 to 25 footers that are, gimmies for sure, but that sometimes in a tournament tense moment, they don't feel like gimme. So that's kind of what I'm working on when I'm at home and just getting some reps in, but also, resting my body and my mind.
In your last event, which you won, of course, at the OTB Open, a ball golf course. Here we are at this Glendoveer property, which so many people have praised, but maybe compare or contrast what you saw at Glendoveer, or what you're seeing here at Glendoveer, as opposed to what you saw down there at Stockton.
Both ball golf courses, both require a lot of power. I think the differences mainly are elevation change. OTB Open had very minor elevation change, some pins on mounds or something, but you're never throwing uphill or downhill. Out here, you're doing that quite often. I think also another difference is OTB Open's a lot of low ceiling shots, so it's a lot more rotation on the disc. Your miles per hour are way higher, going for the skip shots and stuff like that. But out here, you can really let the disc fly and use the glide and get full flights out of the disc. So I'm actually not preparing to throw any rollers this weekend, even though it's maybe, I don't know, stat-wise, probably a longer course, but no rollers just because you have more airspace.
Well, it's funny that you jumped to one of my next questions. In the 15 years I've watched you, you've almost adamantly not gone to rollers. They just don't seem like something that you really lean into or heavily rely on. So seeing you throwing them at the OTB Open, but then having you say you're excited to use the airspace here, that's really interesting to hear.
Yeah, it's cool. I think, certain points in my career, or like even certain points in any given round, I feel, actually was talking to Brian Earhart about this yesterday, but I feel like I know what the smart shot is. I know what the more percentage-based shot is, but this shot looks a lot more fun, and I'm going to go for that shot. And in the past, it's been critiqued of my play that I try the harder shot maybe. So in trying to realign your goals and do I want to win tournaments or do I want to throw the fun shot? Right now, I kind of feel like I want to win tournaments. So I'm not just throwing the roller because it's fun. I'm throwing the shot that's called for, and out here I really don't believe it is rollers. At OTB, I did feel like, when I have to carry it 450 feet, but there's a tree branch right here, the only way I'm going to get there is a roller. So really just looking at the shot at hand and being very logical about it. And that's one of the best parts about disc golf for me. It's like you have 30 seconds to figure out what the best thing is, now throw it, and that's really cool.
And something else that I was looking at is last year you finished tied for fourth here when Valerie won. You finishing fourth isn't necessarily crazy at all. It's obviously very competitive, but what was shocking is that you were 14 strokes off of the pace. So what is it about maybe last year to this year that you feel like maybe you'll change up? Obviously, we have a different cast and different crew here. Valerie's not here to defend her title, but just in general, is there anything that you can reflect on last year and think, hey, here's where I need to clean it up?
To be honest, I'm having a hard time remembering like how certain holes went last year, where my struggles were. Did I putt bad? Was I going OB? I can't really recall that. Actually, when I was thinking about it when I was playing my practice rounds, like, wow, it feels like it's been longer than a year since I've been here. But I remember the rain. I remember Val tapping out on 18. I remember the crowd. It was insane out here. I remember the energy, but I don't really remember what went wrong. And I think that's actually to my benefit, that I'm not going to be thinking about those things. I'm just focusing on the task at hand and, hoping that, as simple as can be, get the disc in the basket in the least amount of throws.
Sounds like the best advice I've heard in disc golf. Here's Zoe on deck.
Excellent advice, certainly, Paige. And let's just dive right into the East versus the West course. So we're familiar with the East. I don't even really think there's much of any changes, but the West is incredibly different. Can you first talk about how you like the new design of the West, and then the scoreability versus, I guess, just the changes? How do you like them, East versus West, and then West in general?
Yeah, 4-day event, it's not unheard of to play 2 courses, but both of them being so long, and I'm very happy that we get to experience this entire property. This is like one of the most beautiful places you could ever play disc golf in. So it's cool that we get to experience the entire premises here. I think that I like the course for the most part. I think there's certain times where it's like the flow is weird. Like if there weren't next tee signs, you wouldn't know which way to go. It's like, whoa, why am I going this way? Or, you have a 500-foot walk to the next pad, stuff like that. But the holes that you throw are all great. I love the holes. Every hole presents a new challenge, and you can choose to like a hole or dislike a hole, but we all have to play the same hole. So just get the job done and move on. So, I'm excited to get a chance to throw some birdies and hopefully some eagles.
That sounds like a very positive mindset, and kind of rounding out the disc golf portion of this interview. Positive mindset seems to be what's taking all of our unique champions through this year, and we've heard you reflect on it year and year, title after title. Where's the number one positive mind focus this weekend?
I don't know. I think that's why I like disc golf, is like, you don't know what you're going to get into, both score wise and also mental wise. Like you can have a thought or a hope or an expectation of what your day could look like, but you really have no idea. And just like not like, meditation like this, but like it is meditative out there, because you're forced, or you're faced with 30 plus emotions in an 18-hole round, and you have to keep yourself even keel. I think Val, who we're going to get to see this week, I think, she's been praised by her peers and everyone alike that was why she was so successful in her prime, was she never got too happy or too sad. She was just Val, and maybe try to channel some of that Oregon native while I'm out here.
All right, well, rounding it into the fun things, we want to say happy birthday, good luck, and enjoy the entire rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back with the next interview.
Welcome back, everyone. Ricky Wysocki is joining us now. And Rick, maybe you can jog my memory. Have you performed well? Have you won anything lately?
Yeah, I chopped up everybody last week here at the Cascade Challenge, and this is proof right here.
Wow, we're going to get violent with it right away. I like it. And that leads right to my question, which is, what does it mean for you to come get your first win here of the 2023 season?
It feels great. It's been a rough go, obviously, for me. It feels like I've been in the octagon battling Lyme disease all these last couple months, and it's been beating me up. And I feel like I'm finally taking it out. So I'm excited to finally be battling back and giving Lyme disease a couple blows, and hopefully it doesn't come back.
Yeah, and so I'll follow that up with, at what percentage are you? Are you firing at 100%? Are you at 92%? Like how good overall do you feel?
Yeah, I'm still getting there. Like even last week I wasn't really 100%. So I would say I'm 90. Yeah, I feel good. There's a lot of people out here. I feel like this far into the season, elbows, shoulders, starting to get a lot of wear and tear. But I'm just starting to hit, to get out here and play a lot of tournaments. So I feel like I'm not at that burnout stage yet, and I feel like I'm excited to start my season.
Yeah, and that actually kind of jumped ahead to one of my questions, which was, I saw you at Beaver State Fling. I said, what else are you playing? And you said, you laughed, and you said, everything. I've got to play everything. And then we went on to talk about where your physical state would be, and you kind of just touched on that. What does that mean to have fresh legs, maybe a fresh mind, maybe a little angst even, and excitement to play? What does that mean for you?
Yeah, like I said last week, I've been feeling like a caged animal. Yeah, I want to be out there competing, and I'm just in a cage, not being able to play. And so I'm out of my cage now, and I'm able to compete, and so it feels great from that standpoint. And but yeah, I was there was just some weakness in the wrist at Beaver State. And so I wasn't able to perform to my best. And it was really starting to go away for Cascade. I can play a lot of rounds and have a lot of reps on my wrist, and it doesn't get sore or tired or anything like that. So yeah, I'm going to be playing a bunch. And I don't normally play a bunch of the Silver Series, but I've been playing them because I haven't been able to play events, period. So I want to get out there and play as many as I can, like I told you.
Well, in looking at it, your schedule kind of mirrors Kat Mertsch's. Like, she's playing every event basically until middle of September, and it looks like you're going to be doing the same. What do you think your chances are within the Disc Golf Pro Tour? We're at the halfway point of the year. What are you trying to climb yourself into? Where do you think you realistically can finish this season?
I haven't really even looked that hard, but I know that the more I play, the more I have give myself chances to win, and the more I do that, I'm a good enough player to where I can rattle off 2-3 in a row. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for is find myself in a groove, and that's kind of what I told myself last week is I can't just get in contention. If I get in contention, I got to capitalize and get that win. And so that's kind of what was going through my head last week and this week's going forward is I got to try to make up for lost time. And how I do that is by not only just getting in contention, but when I do, I really got to capitalize every single time.
And after you won last week, I feel a few of your social media posts gave us this vibe of team, of effort. Talk a little bit about what that's meant for you and then your supporting cast and your crew around you.
Yeah, definitely. So it's, I've got Fern, Emerson's old caddy and tour manager. He's on my bag, and he's been helping a lot just with the back end stuff. And he's, like I said, part of the team. And so I think that's kind of what we're referring to. He's been a huge help. He's been talking to sponsors, just lining up everything that we got going. We went down to Florida for a little bit, so he's lining up Airbnbs, chatting with, all my health and wellness routines, lining up appointments, making sure I'm on time and setting a schedule. And so I think that's really important. And so just all those steps that have got me to here is kind of why we really talk about a team, is because, for me, it definitely takes a team to get back healthy. And now that I'm here, it takes a team to keep me in my comfort zone and keep me playing and competing at a high level. All
right. So then my final question would be, everything you just described sounded a lot like your previous partner in crime, your tour manager, and Ari. Should we be expecting some woos coming out of Fern? Is that gonna happen?
I don't know if he's going to be doing that. That's kind of a trademark Ari thing. So I think she's going to keep her woos on her side, and maybe I have to find something else for Fern to do.
All right, I'll be excited for it. Here's Brian Aaron.
Thanks.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Got one question for you. So you've been battling with Lyme's all year. You mentioned you feel like a caged animal. Is there ever just a lingering fear that comes when you're just struggling for so long to try to get back to 100%? Because it sounds like such a frustrating disease to have to deal with.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. That's a very good word for it. Depressing, frustrating. Because you go from being best player in the world 2022 to not even being able to play a tournament until 3-4 months into the season, and so it's a tough pill to swallow. And so there's just kind of the snowball effect of, am I ever going to play again? Am I ever going to be able to play 100%? Because I'm coming out and playing Nashville and I think I got I don't even know what I got, 8th or 9th place, but it was just not even close. I mean, it wasn't even, that was just a shell of myself. It wasn't even Ricky Wysocki, I feel like. But so it's just, all that stuff starts affecting your confidence. You're like, all right, am I not playing well? Is this my wrist messing me up? Is it my mental state? Like, you don't know what it is. It's hard to pinpoint it. So I think last week gave me a lot of confidence that I am healthy and I'm really getting back to where I want to be, and I feel like I can have a whole half of the season to pick up some wins and just play some great golf, and I think that's where I'm at right now.
Well, I'm sure it feels fantastic to have done that last week, and I think there's a lot of people rooting for you this week, Rick. Good luck.
Thanks, Brian.
And we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Joining us now is our world champion, Kristin Tattar. Kristin, first of all, welcome back to the U.S. How were your travels?
Thank you. Travels went well according to plan. I mean, everything went smoothly. I'm a little bit jet lagged, but other than that, it's all good.
Well, good to hear that things went well. We know how, with multiple flights and everything that can take place, it can get quite gruesome and tiresome overall. You posted on social media saying that your May went by too quickly. You were home. Talk to everyone. Explain maybe what some of the things you were doing. It was relaxation, or was it practice, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. I mean, I just lived a very ordinary, normal, quiet life. Something that I missed, because whenever I come here, I feel like I'm this unicorn coming from a faraway, unknown land and get a lot of attention. So sometimes it gets a little bit draining. So I think I was longing for something like normal, ordinary, quiet, and that's what I got.
Well, good. Hopefully it recharged a few of the batteries. And to be fair, you're treated like that because you're the best player in the world. And so we give you all of this attention because you've rightfully earned and you deserve it. And that's why we have you for so many interviews, although I know it puts a lot of additional stress on you. Well, this is your first time playing here. So my question would be, does this feel at all? Does this look at all like home? Or how would you describe playing here in Oregon versus maybe Estonia?
I mean, climate-wise, it seems more familiar. It's even a little bit colder than it was in Estonia, actually. But yeah, I mean, the courses look very nice. The property is very nice. It's a very long course. I played 2 rounds yesterday, and I plan on doing it today as well. So my arm is a little bit sore. But I mean, the scenery is so nice, so I don't mind being a little sore, and I'm excited to see how the weekend rolls out for sure. Yeah.
Along those lines, this being your first time, I think about probably Montana probably will be your first.
Yes.
When you go to Missoula next weekend. Do you get excited about learning and seeing these new courses, or do you kind of like the idea now that you've been in the States a few times that you're revisiting courses, or do you like learning new ones?
I mean, I like both. I mean, it's always exciting to go to new places. On my way here, I landed in Seattle, and I saw these beautiful, snowy mountains from the plane window, and it was just so exciting to see, and my heart started to pump a little bit faster because the scenery was so nice. So yeah, I'm always excited to see new places and discover new courses, and I don't mind. But I'm also looking forward to visiting old ones. I really like DDO, Des Moines Preserve, so yeah.
And then speaking of the courses, you'll play 2 of them here this weekend. Do you feel like you have a preference of one course or another, or maybe one's more scoreable, or and none of that matter to you?
I don't think it matters. I mean, I think to me they both feel the same, kinda. I think they're pretty similar. Yeah, so I just hope to develop a solid game plan that I can trust, so I don't think anything else matters.
All right, well, here's Zoe Endike. She's got a few more for you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kristin, the Pacific Northwest is so happy to have you, and thank you for pointing out the large mountains and the different scenery. The west side of the country is so much different than what you've seen.
Yeah.
And I guess the first thing is, do you think you'll have a little bit of time to explore?
I don't know. Yesterday, when I played 2 rounds, then I went straight to bed, and I didn't have any time to do anything else. Today is going to be the same, I think. But since women are playing in the morning, maybe I can explore a little after my rounds, hopefully.
All right. Well, quickly just focusing one question on the golf this weekend. You had touched on just forming a solid practice plan, playing 2 rounds today and yesterday, and then jumping straight into the tournament. It doesn't sound like a whole lot of extra thinking into the practice putting. It's just more about learning the Mando's OB's landing zone.
Yes, I would say so. I mean, for me, it all comes down to confidence. I feel like if I have confidence in my shots, then I probably shoot well. But if I have this doubt in my mind, then it leaves room for errors. So I don't want that to happen. So I just want to see what's the best and highest percentage shots for me on each hole, and then just stick with my game plan.
Okay, well, I have to switch gears into what makes disc golf so exciting off the course, and we have seen some incredible posts about potential sponsorships or new sponsors. Can you talk a little bit about your partnership with Nike or anybody else new in the game to add to your sponsorships?
Yeah, I was approached by a local retailer in Estonia who brings Nike into Estonia. It's a huge, a sports store, and I mean, disc golf is huge in Estonia, so they obviously want to jump on board, and they want to see athletes wear their clothes. And I agree. So I really like Nike, and yeah.
Is there a formal partnership in place, or is there talks of one?
There's a formal partnership with the retailer, not like actually with Nike. So yeah.
All right. Well, I know that the entire world is very excited about that representation and your open mind to bring in those types of partnerships. So I want to reel it back
Hopefully.
and say best of luck to you this weekend. We're so stoked to have you in the Oregon disc golf scene, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Joining us now is Calvin Heimburg. And Calvin, we didn't see you playing in the silver event last weekend at the Cascade Challenge. What goes into that decision-making process of events you're going to play or not?
Well, last weekend I attended a bachelor party in Indianapolis, so I was just not even remotely close to being in town and just had other things to do. So, but as far as Silver Series go, it's really just I'm not trying to play all of them, and you know, I got 3 out at the beginning of the season. Not sure I'm going to play another one again. So, if I do, the best candidate would be next week. But yeah, I think for me, it's just, you know, you got to take time off to rest and whatnot. And fortunately for me, I got to skip that one. There was no decision really to make. I just had other plans.
Well, and you're here and you've made it back, so the bachelor party was a success.
Yeah, I'm back and alive. So.
Okay, and it was not your bachelor party, is that
no,
just
it was
for
not mine.
clarification?
It was for a college roommate.
Okay. All right, so often people like me and a couple of other booth commentators say things like, well, this is a thrower's course. This is set up for Calvin. This course should lay out perfectly. Is there any course that doesn't lay out well for you, though?
I don't know. I feel like I can attack any course that is on tour and play pretty well anywhere. But I think you have to have that mindset if you want to go out and succeed as well. I can't just like show up and be like, man, I'm going to play awful at this event. So I definitely feel like I'm capable at attacking any course that the tour throws at me. This course this week is fairly long, so distance is definitely going to be helpful.
And speaking of that, do you then get excited about that distance and maybe the advantage that does or doesn't come with it? Does, when you step onto a property like this and you're playing 10, 11, 12,000 feet, does that give you any additional boost of confidence?
I don't know. I wouldn't say the distance really gives me any boost of confidence. Distance doesn't always tell the full picture of like what the course is throwing at the player. So I definitely know there's probably a smaller amount of people that really could win this event this week just because of the opportunities. Some people are going to get way more opportunities than others, but I know there's still a lot of really great players to beat.
And speaking of beating great players, this year your average finish is 4th. Played in 10 events and you're averaging 4th. What does that consistency mean to you?
I think it just means, I've come out and stuck with every event I've played, through all the rounds, and I've definitely had some rounds that weren't as great as others, but as a whole, I've played really well this season.
And then my final question would be, what could you tell the viewers at home that may not be obvious about this course or this property? And that could be either course, maybe it's a specific hole, or there's just something about it. What's not obvious that you could share with the world?
What's not obvious?
Yeah, some hidden thought or process or strategy, anything that isn't obvious to everyone else that's going to be watching.
I don't know. I honestly, I don't have a good answer for that. I feel like it's pretty laid out and obvious what the holes are calling for and what we have to do. I can't really think of any like hidden strategies out on this course. It's pretty much, you got to drive the disc really well and then make choices on your approaches, whether or not, you're in position on some of these more technical par fours. And I guess the technicality is more due to, greens and bunkers up by baskets rather than, trees being in the way. I mean, there are plenty of trees that are utilized on this course, but you're going to have to throw the disc far and, maybe make some smart decisions when you're a little out of position.
Well, I feel like this course sets up well for you. So best of luck. Here's Zoe Yandeck.
And welcome to Portland, Calvin. We're glad to have you back.
Thanks.
Don't have a whole lot to ask, except for I know that you do like exploring. You have talked in the past about rock hounding. We're in the Pacific Northwest. Will you have time to do any of those extra special or extracurricular activities?
Yeah, I have done a little bit of that. I got the opportunity to do some of that actually earlier last week. I went out to Short Beach and, was out there picking up agates on the beach. The tide was super low. Got to see some tide pools out in the rocks. But yeah, I was just out there picking up agates like they were little Pokemon, just got catching them all,
So definitely fun for you to be, or good vibes for you to be in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy being here. There's a lot of cool places to explore. I think like the entire West Coast as a whole does. But yeah, the Pacific Northwest is always pretty cool. We're here a great time of the year too.
All right. Well, I'm going to say good luck to you, and here's Brian Earhart.
A couple of questions for you, Calvin. Number one, when things are going well for a player, there's a couple different mindsets. I feel like some players say, if things are going well, I'm not going to over-practice. I'm not going to go out and practice things I don't feel like I need to practice. Some people want to stay on the grind and keep going at it and repping those shots continuously. Do you feel like with how things have gone this year that you feel like you still need to practice, like rep through certain things?
Yeah, I think it's always important to continue practicing and repping things, especially things that you're not as good at. I mean, even if you're playing well, there's definitely shots that you have that aren't quite as strong as others. And, you've seen it in the past few years, like the depth of the field's increasing and the overall, skill of, every player on tour has gotten so much better. So, sitting back and like stopping is only allowing everyone else to, you know, catch up to you, or you're going to start falling behind other people. So I think it's important to always just stay sharp, stay focused, and keep practicing.
Just one more question that I have for you, kind of a more general question. Players are looking tired. I'm kind of going out through these courses, talking to different people, and they're saying that at this stretch of the season, either their arms are tired, or their backs are tired, or even just their brain being tired. Do you deal with that? And if you do, is there some sort of active recovery that you go for?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to get, you know, more mentally fatigued than anything, you know, starting to come through this part of the year. You know, we've all been out here since the end of February, traveling, playing tournaments most weekends. So it's really just making sure you're giving yourself time to do other things that you enjoy and get your mind off of disc golf. It's really easy to just be doing disc golf, you know, all day, every day when you're on the road, but it's important to give yourself time to do other things and kind of mentally take a break.
Fantastic. Well, Calvin, there's a lot of people rooting for you this week. Good luck out there, and we'll see you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Joining us now is our event director and Brian Cole. Brian, we're here in Portland, an area you know very, very well. So for someone that might not be as versed as you are, give us a quick overview and why it should be so special to be here for the weekend.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have everyone here in my home in the Pacific Northwest. I moved here about 12 years ago. You know, I'm just excited to share the city and the great food and the great disc golf out here in Portland, and share with everyone the great two courses we've got out here at Glendoveer Golf.
Well, let's touch on that for a moment. This is obviously a huge effort that's been developing over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. What is it about this relationship with Glendoveer and how it all unfolded and has now blossomed into what we have? Sure, yeah. The relationship with Glendoveer started, it was 2021, coming back from a couple of years off due to the COVID pandemic.
and we had to make a late shift away from Blue Lake Metro Park in 2021, and Glendoveer was open to the idea of hosting disc golf. And since then, we've just seen, more and more buy-in from them. So we started out on the west side. We moved over to the more premier east side of Glendoveer last year. And now this year we've got both east and west rented. So we're fully in here at Glendoveer. We're excited to be at just one event site and, popping up two, I'm going to call them semi-permanent courses out here. We built about 50 tee pads and about 40 basket positions. And the course has been great in accommodating those installations. And we're hoping to see some of them, become more permanent. They've also got some of their staff that's been running some off-season events out here, and they're probably going to use some of our tees and basket locations. So
the integration is incredible, and it's got to be really fulfilling. So then the follow-up is the world will see golf played here this weekend, and then a lot of people will think, yeah, but can I go play it? How do I get to go see it or challenge myself? Is that something that's all being considered and in the works?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of our spectator experience that we're really excited about this year is that you can come out and play these courses this week in this layout that all of the top pros are playing on. So there's registration on Disc Golf Scene. You just search Glendoveer Tee Times, and you can come out and play during the event and then buy a ticket and come spectate.
Well, and then which is incredible. So I'll follow that up with tickets. The fact that so many people turned out last year and the area has been so supportive of disc golf, what are some of the ways people can take it all in, be involved? What are you guys expecting for this weekend? And some of the extracurriculars, maybe break those down as well.
Sure, absolutely. All the normal ticketing, processes on our end for all of our events. So you can grab tickets on Eventbrite to come out and spectate. We've got Flex Start C tiers that are going on right now. You're a little bit late if you're hoping to get on those. And then, so starting tomorrow is the beginning of competition, and the pros will be playing the West course on Thursday and Friday. So again, we've got the public pay-to-play tee times over on the East course tomorrow and Friday. And then Friday night, we've got a Bevel and Von Ebert collaboration can release party with Simon Lizotte, the Twice or Its Luck beer. So we've got a DJ coming out and vendors, and that's right there at the Glendoveer patio. And then on Saturday night, we have the Fly Mart, Meet the Pros. The pros will be out there vending, and we've got live music there as well.
All right, I'm exhausted just thinking about it. It sounds like it's going to be an incredible weekend. Of course, the 4 days of golf plus the extracurriculars, and tickets are still available, so people can still go out there and get on board and get over here, right?
Absolutely. Tickets are still available, again, on Eventbrite. I think that the VIPs for Sunday, if they're not already sold out, they're very close, but we've certainly got more room to accommodate general admission, and I think some of the Thursday, Friday VIPs. So.
All right, for a final question or two, we've got Zoe Andike, another fellow partier from Oregon. She knows what it's all about.
Yeah, Brian, it is extremely exciting to have the entire tour here at this time of year and to celebrate the Portland Open becoming bigger and bigger, and now it's an Elite Plus.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to back it up all the way to 2016, and could you give us a little bit of where is your participation and start with the Disc Golf Pro Tour? How did you find yourself in this seat right now?
Sure, yeah, 2016, let me think back. I think that, you and I and Dustin Keegan were actually out on tour. 2015, I did like a little half tour, did the amateur worlds and then moving into the pro competition. And so 2016, I did like a full tour in earnest. And that's where I met Steve Dodge out at Maple Hill, Jeff Spring, Miles Parkhill, who still works with Disc Golf Pro Tour very closely. I actually recall setting up with you and Dustin and Jeff some of those original Disc Golf Pro Tour activations out at Maple Hill. And so that's kind of where I met, the original Pro Tour folks as a competitor. And then, as things progressed and I kept not cashing at Pro Tour events, I decided to delve deeper into the organization side. So I was Stumptown Disc Golf president from, I want to say, 2017 or so until 2021, when I was hired with Disc Golf Pro Tour. So this is my third year with Disc Golf Pro Tour, and that's how I've ended up here.
And thank you for sharing that experience going from the player side and really developing relationships with all of these people, and then taking that time off and coming back to work in the tour. I think speaks volumes, but now I have to ask the incredibly tough question: are you the highest rated disc golfer on the Pro Tour staff?
Absolutely not. We've got.
Tell us who is.
I think it might be Max or Phil or Corey Merle or Brian. It might be Brian Earhart. Not me. No, not me though. My rating has dropped quite a bit, so I'm eligible for amateur competition again. I'll just say that.
Well, we're wishing you luck within the Pro Tour Fun Staff competitions and an excellent event this weekend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great. Thank you, Zoe.
welcome back, everyone. Joining us now is Jeff Spring, our CEO of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And Jeff, we just talked to our event director and Brian Cole, a lot of great insight, and there's even more history to this event. And I wanted to talk to you about that because you were one of the guys that actually brought the idea of bringing Portland onto the map, onto the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Tell us a little bit about that storyline, that history.
Yeah, it's a great history. So in 2018, the SFO debuted. Sean Jack and Steve Dodge worked together to put that on the map. And I was an advisor for the Disc Golf Pro Tour at the time. And, you know, I had been to Portland numerous times. I was at the 2014 Pro Worlds where, you know, Ricky and Paul went to a 7-hole playoff. And it was, you know, the biggest crowd I'd ever seen at a disc golf event. And actually that experience at Blue Lake pushed me to be excited about pro disc golf and get further into the industry. And so in 2018, I saw what happened with the SFO, and, you know, I was talking about my concept of bringing an event to Blue Lake and doing the Portland Open similar to the San Francisco Open. And Dustin and Zoe were staying with me for Pro Worlds in 2018, actually like crashing with me before the tournament. And they're from Eugene, from the area, and have like obviously a big influence on Portland disc golf. So they encouraged me to do it. Talked to Nate and Val, who now owners of Bevel Craft Brewing. And they were on board too, so that 5-person event team, you know, was formed, and we got it off the ground in 2019 at Blue Lake. And I had kind of stood up a business called Spring Disc Golf to run that event that year. Canceled in the pandemic, scrambled for 2021, and then you know, we were kind of back with our format last year, where it was Blue Lake in Glendoveer. Coming into this year, Blue Lake has a big construction project, so we weren't, again, not able to use Blue Lake. We weren't able to plan with them. So, you know, this concept of doing both courses at Glendoveer had kind of been in the hopper, and we had to take it out and activate it for this year. So
needless to say, it hasn't been a walk in the park, although a great idea and a very deserving city. Not a walk in the park to get here all these years later. So we appreciate the perseverance from you and then everyone here in the entire state of Oregon, really, to pull this off. A lot of big disc golf has been going on out here the last few weeks. Of course, just having the Masters take place, the Major take place last week, and then the Beaver State Fling. Talk to us about the 4-round Elite Plus, you know, title that's now attached to this year's event here in Portland.
Yeah, Elite Plus, we're really excited to launch it with this event, and they're going to be 4-round events on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, all with a cut. And, you know, we've got Ledgestone coming up, and then we've got 2 4-round playoff events. The MVP Open won't have a cut as a playoff event. But what we're doing extra for this is we're going to do some feature hole broadcasts, which previously we really only done for the majors. We did for Worlds last year. So if you want to watch some feature holes, you can actually watch another channel on the Disc Golf Network this week. And it's going to be integrated into the broadcast. So we've got camera stands out there that are just catching the entire field. So we're going to be able to bring a better depth into the broadcast and hopefully pilot this for just standard operating procedure in future years. But, you know, we're trying to basically create more media hype. We're adding, you know, it looks like almost $70K to the purse this week, with $12.5 thousand for the MPO first place, and I think over $8,000 for FPO. So kind of pushing the purse limits here to get a bigger purse for the players. So that's what Elite Plus is about, you know, a bigger investment from the tour in media and purse and setup, 4 rounds and more points. So 150 points for this one, which is, you know, a big deal.
So clearly everybody should be excited about everything going on this weekend. My last question, we'll zoom out just a little bit and ask, is there any other big initiatives or projects or things that you can share that are within the Disc Golf Pro Tour or the Disc Golf Network that are maybe on the cusp of either being talked about or released, or new initiatives or things going on right now?
Well, there's 3 things that come to mind. We're excited to launch Euro Tour coverage, PDGA Euro Tour. We've been working with Matej, and he's the PDGA Euro Tour director. And in June, we're going to launch we actually are doing some test broadcasts that won't be live, but we'll launch with the Kona Piste Open, followed by the Krokel Open, the Sweden Open, Skellefteå Open, before Elite Series, PCS Open, and then going to the European Open. Then we'll have a couple more on the way home. So a lot of European broadcasts is one thing to think about. We're still working hard on upgrading to what we're going to refer to as Disc Golf Network, 2.0 for 2024. So we're working on some new features for the app and for our streaming service. And then, of course, the Disc Golf Pro Tour is integral in running the PDGA Pro Worlds this year, the TD at Smuggler's Notch Resort. So that's the third big thing that's coming up. So.
All right, so just a couple things.
Couple things.
All right, get some rest. Here's Zoe Ende.
Hey, Jeff, and welcome back to Portland.
Hey.
Super good to have this Portland Open getting ready to launch tomorrow. And I want to go right back to the East and the West course. The fact that we have both rounds here, we're keeping the pros here the whole time. Thanks for reflecting on the Blue Lake. But now I think a lot of people want to know, is this the future plan? Will we continue to invest in East-West?
Well, it's certainly a lot of money to rent both courses. So it's probably the biggest kind of course rental fee that we've ever seen. So we're going to look at the results this year, but it certainly is a possibility for the future. We've definitely invested a lot in these courses and worked really close with Glendevere to make them semi-permanent, even though they're not up all the time. We have a lot of permanent tees, permanent basket installations, and we can pop it up, now a lot quicker in the future. So I would anticipate that if everything goes well, we'll be back here doing this. Blue Lake's a great track, and as I said, the inspiration for this entire event, really. So, if we can, kind of stabilize, and know that we can have that well in advance, you never know if it can come back and be a part of the Portland Open. But that's kind of the wait and see approach, and we're really excited and think that the event here will be really successful. One of the things I'll say is that both of the starting holes, it has a similar feel to Smuggler's Notch Resort because they're within a shot of each other. You could throw a disc from one tee to the other, and there is something special about being on site where there's two great courses right there, ready to go.
Absolutely. And from interviews earlier today, we've heard from the players the favor of being at this property for the entire weekend, and that they also have fond memories of Blue Lake. So it sounds like we're in a good place there. We want to focus in on a couple questions on the West course. Mm-hmm. We hear it's long, but the players are very excited for the challenge. There are lots of Mandos and OBs. First of all, can we accredit the design for the MPO and FPO to the tour?
Yeah, so I'm the lead designer on the courses with our team. Christine Jennings came out and helped with the FPO design, and she's part of the DGB team. And then Brian Cole, of course, the tournament director, has been on site and helping actuate it. And then, Evan Spur has been helping install it. So it's been like, a Disc Golf Pro Tour team effort, but, I spent a good amount of time out here getting the overall layout just right. So.
And we've heard from the players how they're going to attack the West course, but we haven't gotten a chance to talk about, is it a complete clean slate in your mind? Is there old influence, new influence? How much will we be able to recognize from a couple years ago?
Yeah. So first of all, I know it's long, but I would also note that it's shorter than East. So it's not that long. I know that the back nine, coming in for FPO has 4s and 5s, so a lot of opportunity for score separation there. But I would say that there is certainly some remnants of the course in 2021 that we saw here. Hole 1 is hole 6, exact same one that Dustin designed. And then hole 4 is kind of the back half of a par 5, hole 7. And so there are like, and also we use what we affectionately call Kevin's knob on hole 17, where Kevin Jones, who was leading the tournament at that time, kind of fell back. And it was Kevin's a great player, and he's had a lot of breakthrough moments, Pro Tour champion, but it definitely was a memory of the tournament, where, he was cruising to victory, and that green is important. So we decided to keep using it. So
keep it as an iconic piece of the course. All right. Well, final question. We've only heard one player give their estimation, and from your own thoughts, what do you think an MPO hot score is going to come in at?
I haven't even thought about it, so it'd be interesting. I think it was around high 20s last year. I can't remember exactly what the total was on East. But for 4 rounds, I would guess that we're probably going to be in the 30s, if not around 40. And one thing, I would think is that I would guess that the FPO has scoring opportunities out here, and so we'd like to see the winners, within striking distance of the under par score.
Thank you so much, Jeff Spring. Good luck with the event this weekend, and that's all for the Disc Golf Network.
Thanks, Zoe.